A traffic ticket just destroyed someone's green card application. Not a felony, not a DUI, a traffic ticket. And the terrifying part is, that person did everything right for years. They worked legally, they paid their taxes, they followed every immigration rule. But in 2026, something changed. The rules around driving and immigration are no longer separate. They are connected. And if you are on a visa, waiting for a green card, or applying for citizenship, what happens behind the wheel can now follow you directly into an immigration office. This video will tell you exactly what changed, who it affects, and what you must do to protect yourself right now. Here is what most immigrants do not realize. Traffic law and immigration law used to operate in completely separate worlds. You got a ticket, you paid it, it was over. That is no longer true. Starting in 2026, several states have updated their traffic enforcement systems and connected them to federal immigration tracking. This is not a rumor. This is not speculation. State motor vehicle databases in at least 11 states are now sharing violation data with federal law enforcement systems. That data is accessible to USCIS during background checks. It is accessible to ICE during enforcement operations. And it is pulled automatically when you apply for any immigration benefit, whether that is a visa renewal, adjustment of status, or naturalization. The question is not whether the system is watching. The question is whether you know what it is looking for. Let us start with who this directly affects, because this is not limited to one group. If you are currently in the United States on any non-immigrant visa, meaning H-1B, L-1, F-1, O-1, TN, or any other work or study visa, these new driving laws apply to you. If you are a lawful permanent resident, a green card holder, and you are not yet naturalized, these laws can still affect you. If you have a pending green card application, a pending citizenship application, or a pending visa renewal, a driving violation recorded in 2026 can reach your case file before you even know it was flagged. And if you are an undocumented individual or someone who has overstayed a visa, the stakes are even higher because any law enforcement encounter now carries a real risk of triggering further action. No matter where you fall in that list, you need to stay until the end of this video because the section on what you must do now is the most important part. So, what exactly changed in 2026? There are 4 major shifts that every immigrant must understand. The first is that distracted driving, specifically holding your phone while behind the wheel, has been upgraded to a primary offense in 14 additional states this year. That means a police officer no longer needs another reason to pull you over. Holding your phone is enough. But here is the part that matters for immigration. In several jurisdictions, repeated distracted driving violations are now categorized under reckless behavior. USCIS uses a legal standard called good moral character when evaluating green card and citizenship applications. That standard allows officers to consider patterns of behavior that show disregard for public safety. 3 distracted driving violations in 2 years can be used against you. 1 might be overlooked. A pattern will not be. The second major change is that driving without valid insurance documentation is now being cross-referenced with federal databases in 8 specific states. Those states are Arizona, Georgia, Alabama, South Carolina, Oklahoma, Missouri, Indiana, and Mississippi. Here is exactly how it works. You get pulled over. The officer asks for proof of insurance. Maybe your card is expired. Maybe you switched providers and forgot to update your documents. The officer runs your information. In these 8 states, that search now pings a federal system that checks immigration status. If you are not a U.S. citizen, your record is flagged. You are not arrested on the spot, but a report is generated. If you have a pending case, if you have prior violations, or if there are any questions about your status, that report can be the thing that triggers a formal notice. That notice can begin removal proceedings. This is not hypothetical. This is how the system is currently operating. The third change involves school zone speed enforcement. Multiple states have deployed AI-assisted cameras in school zones that automatically issue citations for speeds as low as 5 miles per hour over the limit. What makes this dangerous for immigrants is the language used to classify these violations in certain jurisdictions. In some states, excessive speed in a school zone is labeled as conduct endangering a minor. That language appears on your driving record. When USCIS pulls your background, that language stands out. You will be asked to explain it. You will need court documents proving no criminal charges were filed. It adds delay. It adds scrutiny. And if you cannot provide documentation quickly, it can hold up your entire case. The fourth change is the one that surprises people most. DUI checkpoints in 22 states are now using ID scanning technology that instantly cross-references your driver's license against visa records, entry and exit history, and prior law enforcement contacts. You do not have to be drinking. You do not have to be doing anything wrong. You simply pull up to the checkpoint, hand over your license, and in seconds, the system has a full picture of your immigration history. If there are any inconsistencies, if your visa restricts your location and you are driving in a different state, if you missed a check-in, if your status has lapsed by even 1 day, that information is captured and logged. It does not always result in immediate action, but it becomes a permanent record, and that record surfaces later, exactly when you cannot afford it. Now here is what you must do. First, pull your driving record today. You can request it from your state DMV either online or in person. Read every single line. Look for violations you do not recognize. Look for errors. Errors happen more often than you think, and if there is a mistake on your driving record, you need to dispute it now before it shows up in an immigration interview where correcting it will take months. Second, disclose every traffic citation when you fill out immigration forms. Every form that asks about arrests, citations, or charges requires honest answers. That includes tickets you paid online and forgot about. That includes warnings that resulted in written documentation. Immigration officers can see your full driving record. If they find something you did not disclose, the issue is no longer the ticket itself. The issue becomes misrepresentation, and misrepresentation is far more serious than any traffic violation. Third, if you receive a citation, do not simply pay it online and move on. Consult a traffic attorney first. In many cases, an attorney can get the charge reduced or dismissed. A dismissed charge is a better outcome than a paid fine, because when you pay a fine, you are admitting guilt. That admission is documented. Immigration can use it. A dismissal leaves much less room for scrutiny. Fourth, update your address with USCIS within 10 days of any move. This is a legal requirement that many immigrants forget. If notices are mailed to an old address and you miss them, the consequences can be severe, including automatic denial of pending applications. Fifth, if you are ever stopped at a checkpoint or during a traffic stop and an officer asks about your immigration status, you have the right to remain silent on that question. You are required to provide your license, registration, and insurance. Beyond that, you may politely state that you prefer not to answer further questions. Do not argue. Do not resist. Simply be calm, be respectful, and know your rights. Now let us talk about the mistakes that are quietly damaging people's cases right now. The most common mistake is the assumption that immigration only cares about criminal arrests. That was true years ago. It is no longer true. USCIS conducts full background checks that include civil violations, driving records, and any law enforcement encounter, even ones that ended without charges. The second most common mistake is treating a ticket as closed once it is paid. Paying a ticket closes the financial matter. It does not close the legal record. That violation stays on your file. The third mistake is not knowing which state you are in when it comes to insurance cross-referencing. If you live near a state border or you travel between states for work, you need to know whether the states you drive in are among the 8 that share insurance data with federal databases. Ignorance of which state you are in does not protect you from the consequences of that state's laws. The fourth mistake is letting your driver's license lapse or get suspended and continuing to drive. A suspended license violation is a misdemeanor in most states. Misdemeanors carry immigration consequences even when charges are dismissed, even when no conviction results. The arrest record alone is enough to complicate your case. The fifth mistake is not consulting an immigration attorney when something unexpected happens. People wait. They hope it will resolve itself. They tell themselves it was just a small thing, and then they find out months later that the small thing was the reason their application was delayed or denied. Do not wait. Act immediately. Here is the truth that this entire video comes down to. The boundary between traffic enforcement and immigration enforcement has been removed, not weakened, removed. In 2026, every time you get behind the wheel, you are operating inside a system that can affect your visa, your green card, and your path to citizenship. You did not come to this country to lose everything over a distracted driving ticket. You did not sacrifice years of your life to have a checkpoint scan derail your application. But that is exactly what is happening to real people right now, people who worked hard, people who followed the rules, people who simply did not know how much had changed. You now know. You have no excuse to be unprepared. Share this video with every immigrant you know who drives, because the road to citizenship just got more complicated, and the only thing standing between you and a serious immigration problem is the knowledge you carry with you every single day. This video is for informational purposes only and does not constitute legal advice. For guidance specific to your case, consult a licensed immigration attorney.